Hey guys, so this is part 2 to my 2 months post-op. It was a longer video than I expected just because I kind of went through the recap of everything that had happened since my surgery and how the surgery actually worked. So I ended on the healing, kind of some of the things that have been going on for me as far as that goes since my surgery. So I'll continue there. I just talked about the hanging feeling of the phallus and the weight of it and having to adjust to that. And now that I'm adjusted, it doesn't really cause any issues. I did, after I got my so before I got my catheter taken out, I had bladder spasms, which are the worst feeling. I did not expect it to hurt that much. I think I only had about 2, but one of them lasted the whole day, and I went to the emergency room because this is back when I was still in Texas for the first month post-op. Went to the emergency room because it felt like a really bad UTI. Like, I constantly felt like I had to go to the washroom. It didn't burn or anything, but it was just a very unpleasant, like I couldn't leave the bathroom type of feeling. So I was convinced it was UTI. They did testing. They tested my blood. They tested my urine. There was no issues. They just said it's bladder spasm. I even took bladder spasm medication, didn't get rid of it. At the hospital, they put me on fentanyl. That helped kind of decrease the pain. Then they put me on some morphine before I left. And I ended up falling asleep that night, still in pain. I woke up in the morning and I tried to, because one of the things you can do for bladder spasms is just adjust your position, because it's the little bulb in that's filled up with fluid for the catheter, and it's like touching one of the walls, so that can cause a spasm. I got up, and I just got up really fast and roughly, and I guess I must have shook it out of position, so it stopped. I didn't have a bladder spasm after that. That was really close to the day I was getting my catheter taken out when I was doing my peeing trial. Speaking of that trial, everything went well in it. It was, when you get close to about 3 weeks with a suprapubic catheter in, your body really starts rejecting it. It doesn't want it anymore. Things hurt. You feel like you have to go through the phallus. It's just, I was getting to the point where I was like, I need this thing out. I got it out. Didn't feel very nice coming out. The doctor just said, take a deep breath in, and then she yanked it out, and then my hand shot down to protect the painful area, but it was gone. After that, I had immediate relief. Haven't had any kind of bladder pain since then, although I have had some things. For nerve pains, that was the only pain that I kind of had happen after I got back home, and it was just sharp shooting pains all over. It's just the nerves reconnecting, I heard. It was mostly down the left side. I think that was because the right side I had the swelling and the seroma happen, and I had some numbness in the upper portion of my thigh, and I still have some numbness around here. So the right side's slowly regaining nerve sensation, but it's still a little bit more numb, swollen. The swollen is, like, it's less swollen, but it's still slowly regaining. The left side's much faster. Yeah, so the nerve pain would be sharp shooting, quick pains. It was really unpleasant. I'd, like, readjust my position. It would sometimes help, not all the time. My arm started to really hurt up here by the wrist from moving it around all day. So I went to my doctor and asked for nerve pain medication. She put me on gabapentin, which actually helped me sleep too, because I was having difficulties with sleeping. Not getting comfortable with laying on my back, because I'm not really a back sleeper, but I'll get into that more later. For healing, oh yeah, that medication helped with the nerve pains. It took about 2 weeks to start working, but then it started working, and by week 6, I didn't have any I haven't had nerve pain since then, really. Maybe a couple every once in a while, but not really. As far as my arm healing goes, I've been, after I got back from Texas after a month post-op, I started just wrapping this area where the open wound is, because I wanted to start exposing this area to put on lotion because it was getting really dry, and it was hard to do the movements with something bulky on. I started putting vitamin A on it because I've heard that that helps, as well as vitamin E. Lotion because it dries up, especially near this crease here. Yeah, I lotion a couple days and wash it with soap and water. I don't get this wet in the shower or anything because I'm not supposed to actually get the open area wet. Right now, I have a bandage. It's a special wound bandage. It's waterproof, but I still try and keep it out of the water. It's been helping the open area heal a lot. It's still healing slowly, but it is healing. Skin's growing over. I think maybe it'll take maximum another month. It doesn't hurt or anything. But my hand is swollen, as you can see. It's kind of funny looking. It doesn't really bother me besides that I can press in and it makes a good sized indent. It takes a long time to come back, as you can see. I think it's putting some pressure on here, which is hurting here a bit more. I've been trying to massage it down so it can go through the little bridge. This was tighter before, now it's loosened up, so I'm hoping this will start to heal. I've been wearing a compression glove that pushes it down, but as soon as I take it off, it comes back. Massaging it, raising it above my heart. I think it's just time at this point that it will take. The stitches have pretty much all dissolved, just a couple that bleed every once in a while, but it's like very brief, nothing too much. The tip that was causing me issues before, I had some blackness on it, but Dr. Crane just picked it off with the tweezers. It scabbed over, turned a little bit yellow. Now it's pink and it's completely healed over. I'd say that took maybe until my 6th week again for it to completely heal up. Although it's healed really well, and now the urethral opening is much smaller than it was, and so it's a very narrow stream. It had me worried that it would completely heal over, but I saw my doctor and she said it's fine. As long as I don't have any issues with peeing, then I should be fine. In terms of other things, my sleeping, that was really difficult. Not a back sleeper. I started sleeping on my side with a pillow in between my knees, so that way it would just, and then like something to prop it up so it wouldn't fall. Then I started sleeping on my stomach pretty soon after, I'd say about 5 weeks after surgery. And I just put a pillow underneath my leg, kind of had my leg up so it was like crooked, like here, and my other leg was straight. And I found that it just falls on the bed in a way like tucked in between my legs that it props itself up. So as long as I don't lay with my full body weight on it, I don't crush it. When I do that, I do wake up because it does hurt. I can feel the pressure. So sleeping has improved a lot. The gabapentin has also helped. Nobody's asked about my arm, except for like 3 people, especially even when I have it uncovered like this, people just kind of mind their own business. I just tell people it's like a burn or something like that, and then they're like, oh, wow, that, ow. But then after that, they just kind of leave it alone. No one's figured that I'm transgender. No one's made the connection, or if they have, they haven't said anything. So I don't really feel self-conscious about my arms at all, even though I know a lot of people after this procedure are really self-conscious about it. I actually see it as like, wow, I can't believe I made it through this surgery and I did all this to become who I am, and I'm really proud of it, actually. So I do keep it covered because you're supposed to keep it covered from the sun, but when I'm at home, I leave it uncovered. Returning to work, I'm going to do probably in about 2 weeks, just because my job's a little bit physical, so I want to leave some extra time, even though I'm allowed to after 8 weeks for physical jobs. My activity level has slowly improved. When I first got back, I could only do 4 hours of about maybe 3 to 4 hours of being out until about 6.5, 7 weeks. Then I started to be able to go out all day. Now I'm able to go out pretty much all day. My energy levels pretty much back to where it was, maybe a little bit less. New things that have been happening, I've been getting sensation. I found out that both the nerves that were used were connected to the clitoral nerves. So for erotic sensation, I didn't read in my surgery report that anything was connected to any other nerves. So that could be why my tactile sensation is a little bit numb still. I can feel when I put pressure on it myself, mostly in my fingertips. I can feel pressure when I'm laying on it, but I think that's just because it presses against so hard. If I touch it lightly, I don't really feel it, especially if someone else does. I don't feel it. There is other sensation, but it's slowly coming back, mostly on the left side. I'm sure it'll continue to come back after time. That's mostly it. Nothing new has really come about. Just the struggle of trying to find underwear that supports but also doesn't cause it to fold in on itself. But yeah, so I'll make another update later. Thanks. Bye.